Here we are, live again. I am going to go to bed early tonight. It is 9:23, and I'm never going to complain about having lots of business. And actually, a lot of you YouTubers are coming my way, and it's really cool to meet you. And some of you aren't moving here, but that's okay. I still love to meet you and hang out with you, have a cup of coffee. But tonight, balance my hairdo. Tonight, I want to make another video regarding HOAs, homeowners associations, okay, and property owners associations. A property owner, and I'll give you an example, association would be like Padre Island, okay? Padre Island, there's a property owners association, right? So that encompasses the island and the rules on building standards, whether or not you can park your boat or your RV on your land. Yes, you can. You know, building styles, architectural design. If you're going to go build a deck or a patio or something that might be, you know, questionable, you have to get their permission, right? They also collect yearly fees to pay for the boat ramps and the parks and stuff like that, okay? Now, a homeowners association will, it would be like, let's say you lived in a townhouse and there's like 10 townhomes or 15 townhomes, right? Then you're going to have a homeowners association, which is separate from that property owners association, okay? And those are usually monthly dues. We have a lot of townhomes here and a lot of condos here. And when it comes to homeowners associations, like I had in my notes, I was really surprised when I got here from Hawaii, and I was like, let me see your reserve study. Let me see your budget. Let me see your expenses, you know, and have everything broken down. But like they were just barely squeaking by with basics, right? And they didn't have reserves, meaning a savings account for the rainy day, right? So you have a budget in an HOA that says, okay, let's say we're in a high rise, and let's say in this high rise, we're going to budget this much money for the elevator, this much money for paint, this much money for the exterior maintenance, this much money for utilities, this much money for the pool, right? And you have the budget, okay? So the monthly assessment that we're collecting is going towards that budget, right? That should be covering those items that you are budgeting for that year, right? Then you have reserves, a reserve study that says, okay, you need to have X amount in reserves in your savings account for a rainy day, for surprises and unknowns, right? But if a property management company is managing correctly, sorry, it's getting real bright, managing correctly, then they won't have to go into those reserves. But let's say in a case of, you know, one of the buildings I knew, it had a defective parking garage, and that was not for a lack of management or a lack of reserves or whatever. It was just an unfortunate situation. They were not poorly managed. It's one of the few buildings that was, you know, not poorly managed. But interestingly, you know, what I found here in Corpus Christi is you can be part of a HOA, homeowners association, and pay your $450, $650, even more than that sometimes, for your monthly dues. And a lot of those will cover your water, sewer, and trash, and that's usually about $150. And basic cable, that's another $80. No, basic cable and Wi-Fi is about $80 if there's Wi-Fi, but it will cover certain things, right? So that's fine. Don't think the HOA, the monthly assessments are, oh, that's too high, that's too bad. What does it cover? Because if you were to buy a single family home of that size, 900 square feet, 1,200, 1,500 square feet, you're going to be paying at least that, if not more, right? Now, where the danger lies is if you buy one of these condos or townhomes and you don't understand and don't get the reserves and don't get the budget and don't understand how they're being managed, then you are facing not only paying your $600 some a month, but you're also facing potential special assessments on top of what you're already paying. What I mean by that is, let's say I'm paying $600 a month and then like 10 months go by and they go, okay, we need $3,000 because we're going to do some, we have to fix the balconies, or we have to fix the bulkhead, or we have to fix the entry, and it's like, well, I'm paying you a lot, like you should be budgeting that and using it accordingly. If I wanted a single family home where I had to worry about paying $3,000 a year or $5,000 or $10,000 a year in assessments to maintain my property, I wouldn't be in a condo or a townhome that's supposed to be managing that, right? So just be very careful when you get into these situations where you have townhomes and condominiums and potentially the POA is not a big deal, Property Owners Association, because it takes in single family residences, the common areas, and it also takes in, the commercial areas. It's more of a community type of management. They make sure the bulkheads and the boat ramps are taken care of and stuff like that. But special assessments are on top of your monthly dues, okay? And so wherever you are, whether you're here in Corpus or somewhere else, make sure you ask these questions about, okay, what are the monthly assessments? What are the restrictions? Are you allowed to have pets? Are you allowed to have the car you want? I mean, I heard in Florida, some places don't even let you have a pickup truck in the community. I mean, like, that is the weirdest thing I've ever heard. Like, you cannot have a pickup truck. Is that not foo-foo enough? I mean, very weird. But make sure you get those up front. I try to get most of that information up front before we submit an offer, because I don't want to pay for my client, not me, but my client to get neck deep into inspections and this and that, and pay $1,000, $2,000 that I heard recently someone had paid, only to back out because of information we could have had early on. Right now, if someone says to me, well, I love the location and I love the view and I'm okay if it assesses me, whatever, that's okay. If you have money available to deal with that kind of stuff, that's great. But I know a lot of people don't. So be very, very careful in doing that. Okay. Meaning moving ahead without really looking into that homeowners association. One of the properties that I'm very familiar with, it's one of my favorites. They came under new management, and I was looking at a listing in that building, and it had like so many like fees. I've sold many in that building, and when I started reading the fees now, last year the previous property managers of 25 years retired. And so now it's like a $3,000 this fee and a $495 that fee and this, $650 that fee. I mean, it was like close. I mean, it was crazy. It was almost like $4,000 just to buy the property because of all the HOA fees that they were going to pay you. Now, when you buy these condos in particular, maybe townhome, but more often condos, they're going to charge you a fee when you buy into that property to build the reserves, right? To build that savings account. So that's their opportunity to get more cash into that savings account. But I was just like, man, there were like, I want to say there were like 4 different fees. And I was thinking, holy cow, like that's a lot of fees. So yeah, knowing your HOAs are important. I had another client, and I'll leave you with this, who bought a property in a gated subdivision. It has rules and regs and restrictions. And so this client, has a business, and they have business trucks, and they're like, yeah, we're going to park our trucks in our driveway and this and that. I'm like, that wasn't the original plan, and I don't think you can do that. And my client's like, well, I can do it. It's my house. I'm like, no, originally you were going to have the house and rent it out. You weren't going to live in it and tell me you had a bunch of business vehicles in your driveway. So yeah, you may not think it's fair, it's your house, but if you buy in a place where there's an HOA that has these kinds of restrictions and stuff, you're buying into that, okay? And I know for myself, if I was living in a nice gated community, and I live in a nice community, don't get me wrong, but and people were piling up a bunch of business vehicles in the driveway and not putting them in the garage or back of the house, I would just be annoyed. We want to maintain the quality of the neighborhood. So anyway, I'm here, Jaci-O, and my beloved Orlando O'Neill. Honey, can you comment or no? Anyway, that's that. I hope it helped, and have a good night.